Okay, this episode was really good. It was really good. Far better than the previous one. And what's far more better is that I expected the first episode of the season, written by Stephen Moffat, would be, that great episode of the season. But no, it seems that this episode are far better in everything from the previous one, and which is great because I didn't expect nothing from this episode. I expect it's gonna be some random filler episode where Clara is just gonna do some good thing and become a companion and prove why she's a good companion. But no, this is actually really good story driven Doctor Who episode, and it's really good. But before I start with doing any sort of analysis, let me give you the very short retelling of what happened in the episode. I personally hate the retellings, but it's something that have to happen. That's it's mandatory for reviews. So, episode starts with Doctor tailing down the Clara's roots all the way to her parents and how they actually met and how their first kiss and how when Clara is born and how they're a happy family with Clara playing and everything, and he's watching the Clara growing up all the way when actually he see Clara and her father at her mother's grave, and that's where she stopped tailing her and go back to TARDIS and quite perplexed with what he's seen, because she's such an ordinary girl. There is nothing special about her, and yet she's impossible. And the episode continues with Doctor picking up Clara and promising her to show her the worlds, and that's what he did. And they traveled to some planetary system called the Rings of Akhaten. I guess the Akhaten is the celestial body in the middle of those rings following that celestial body, and Clara sees the whole new world, whole new species. Everything special engulfs before her eyes, and at one point Doctor disappears. Clara meets the Queen of Years, who have escaped from her duties, and they have a long, meaningful conversation about how you shouldn't be afraid, how motivational stuff. And yes, Queen of Years says, "Thank you, Clara, I'm going to sing to the god." And that's what happened actually. She sings to the god and with some other random dude who is also singing, but you don't give a damn about him. And they fail and the god awakens, and everyone is in panic except of course Doctor, who says, "I'm not trying away from this. Let's save little Queen of the Years." And Clara and Doctor goes to some ring which the god sleeps, and they rescue Clara. That god awakes, and nothing really special happens. There's also some sort of guys who are like some sort of security to the god. I don't know, something which they appear, fight Doctor, and when god awakes they just disappear. Like we go away. And when God awakes, Doctor realized that wasn't God at all. That was an alarm clock to wake the God. The God is actually that gigantic planet who feeds not on souls of people but their stories. And Doctor gives a meaningful conversation to Clara, saying, "When we hold to something precious, we run. We run until we are out of the shadow of the problem." So Clara and the Queen of Years, they run away to the sort of safety, and Doctor stays on that ring to confront the god. And yet Doctor gives self-sacrifice. I mean, he's 1,000,000 years old and he has all those stories, all this knowledge inside of him, and God starts feeding at him. And that wasn't enough actually, and Clara comes to the rescue. I mean, that's her pivotal point of the episode, her peak, when she comes to rescue the Doctor, and at the end she gives sort of her leaf, which is the greatest leaf in the mankind's history, the leaf that holds everything and everything that might be. And the gigantic celestial body feeds on that, and that was too much for him, and Clara saves the day. People of Akhaten, or the people of the rings of Akhaten were saved, and that's about it. That's about it from the retelling, and finally we're going to analysis. Wow! Okay, so this episode is actually, in my opinion, the equivalent of the Beast Below and Fires of Pompeii, and I can't really remember in which episode Rose and Martha actually rise to their peaks as a companion. But you know, in Fires of Pompeii we have seen Donna actually yelling at the Doctor how she actually at that point become his moral compass, and you know, woken him from his, you know, arrogance. Even though he isn't arrogant, but you know, he was like, they died in the history, they died for good, we're not saving anyone. And in Beast Below we have seen actually Karen Gillian, I mean Emilia Pond, screwing up stuff, you know, and in the end she actually saves the, you know, the Star Vale, the English floating city and everything. And in this episode, Rings of Akhaten, we have actually seen Clara giving her most valuable memory, you know, I don't think it's the most valuable possession, but I think it's very high on that list. Her very high possession to the, you know, to save the Doctor, to save the Rings of Akhaten. I mean, that's her, you know, plus for the as a companion. But Clara is much different than, you know, than both Donna and Emilia. She doesn't really shine. She's, as I said in my previous review, she's really, you know, very calm water. She's very kind, very innocent, but she's not pushy like, you know, Emilia. She's there. She just wants to explore. She just wants to, you know, learn about stuff, and that's really cool at one point. But we will see. Will it be cool, you know, in next episodes? How will it be, and so etc. etc. But I would rather start this episode with you know, very good introduction to episode about, you know, when Doctor flowing into the past, so he can see how Claire was concepted, because, you know, he thinks that she is impossible, you know. She wants to find why she got reincarnated as Clara Oswin Oswald in this world. And we have seen that Claire's parents, which I don't know their names, have actually met by coincidence, but very, very small coincidence that is just a single leaf. I mean, think about that. That single leaf actually changed their life for good. You know, walk outside on the street, see the leaf on the tree, and such a small thing can actually completely change your life is ridiculous. But this is Doctor Who, and they have done it really, really great. So that single leaf actually led to, you know, her mother and father meeting, and, you know, it all led to the conception of the Clara. And that's all great. The symbolic behind the leaf is really, really great. I really like it. It wasn't cliche. I mean, it is, but, you know, it's kind of beautiful cliche that we actually need. I mean, such things are, you know, not so common in our real world, and we actually, every single one of us want to have such a strong symbolic, such a strong memento to something, and that leaf really represented that, and from that point I really, really like that. So that's from the beginning. As from Clara, you know, as I said, this is her first episode as a full-fledged companion. We have Clara as a, you know, impossible girl in previous episode. We have Clara as, you know, mistress of, not mistress, governess of the children in Christmas Special. We also had Clara as Dalek in the Asylum of the Daleks. But this is actually the first time they've traveled together. This is the first time she walks as companion. She walks as a companion. And let's see. And you know, she's different from all the actually companions in that way, because she really seems that, you know, it's not that it's so unusual for her to see, you know, all those aliens, all the strange places. It's not unusual for her, but that exploring spirit she has, you know, like, oh my god, I'm going to adventure, and you know, she's at adventure, and she's accepting it full-heartedly that this is the adventure she needs. And she's not like, oh, this is new, oh, this is strange, oh, God, but this. No, she really accepts everything like being normal but something new, and this is so great. I really like that. And I really like that she has that cute, tiny, innocent face, you know, that just sparkles cuteness out of her. I mean, she's not necessary, you know, Karen Gillian, who actually played on every single fetish the nerds could have. I mean, red-headed police girl with British accent, I mean. No, this is just an ordinary cute girl, I mean, and that's why I really, really like her. And you know, the first point when we seen her shine in this episode was when she actually caught up with Queen of the Years, and they hide behind TARDIS, and she gave her this beautiful speech how her mother actually tell her a story whenever she's lost, will it be a jungle, a desert, or I don't know where, she will never be alone. She will always be guiding her whenever and always. And there is supposed to be some symbolic in that, when she says actually, I will guide her whenever, or I'm not really certain, but she says whenever I will guide her, or something like that. But there is supposed to be some symbolic in that. We don't know what, but we will see in the future. But it's really a nice speech that she gives to the young, you know, Queen of the Years, and she really acts up like someone she should look upon at. And you know, there's few other things which is interesting at that point. That which mother says, and that when she looks at the TARDIS, and when she tries to open it, there is some, you know, she looks at the TARDIS, you know, the camera is zooming in, and she finally says, I don't think the TARDIS likes me. Well, we all know that TARDIS is actually more than just a spaceship. That she's actually a living being, you know. We have seen that in Doctor's Wife episode that Neil Gaiman wrote, that we can actually impersonify the TARDIS into human being. And it seems that TARDIS like holding all the knowledge of the world. I mean, not of the world, but all the knowledge the Doctor have and everything. We don't know how TARDIS is old, and we don't know how TARDIS knows all the information, but it seems that it's been highly knowledgeable. It is proven when, you know, the last moment of, you know, impersonified body TARDIS, when she says the only water in the forest is the river, which actually she implies that she knows who the river song is, that she's actually Melody Pond. And it seems that it could happen that TARDIS also know, you know, who's Clara Ozzy, but we will see. We know that there will happen an episode in Doctor Who which will be called The Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. I'm not certain which episode will that be in this season, but it might, you know, happen something in that episode regarding this. So we have what's really great regarding. I'm gonna first talk about the conversation level of this episode, because it's really a great strength of this episode. I don't know who this writer is. The writer is called Neil Cross. When I clicked on him on Wikipedia, it says that he's the main writer of some series which I haven't watched. It's called Luther. But you know, he had done really good things here, really good things here. I remember when I was watching, you know, season 3 and season 4 of Doctor Who, and how impressed I was with, you know, Stephen Moffat's episode. I mean, Blink, and you know, the Forest of the Deaf, and the Silence in the Library. They were all good episodes. And there are some others which I can't really remember now. But you know, he's really on the left. Aha, okay, this guy is good. We'll see what he'll do next. So I really liked that conversation that that Clara had with the Queen of the Years, and I really like the conversation that, you know, when the God began to wake and Doctor started running away, and Clara jumps on him and said, "Why are we running away?" And he looks at her. The only thing you must know about me is that I never run away. I didn't expect that, because in the season 5 and season 6, when Emilia Pond asked him that, he says that the only thing you must know about me that Doctor always lies, and that he will never let her companion get harmed. But this is also cool. It really works on the episode level, and that I never run away. And they go to the man selling, that scuba driver, the flying scuba driver. And also, a great thing of this episode is I also feel there is a strong symbolic messages behind this episode. Starting first with the monetization value of how our world, how the piece of paper, I mean money, actually control our world. And this is the good another view on such things, where the only thing we possess is the memories. I mean, something symbolic, some memento, something of symbolic value to us, which is, it actually proves that you're as rich, as enough as you have seen, as you have experienced, as you have learned, which is such a great concept. But of course, it can't work in real life. But it's such a great concept, where actually the values of memento is everything. And regarding that actually they are feeding the god with stories. I'm personally extreme fan of everything that regards the heavy storytelling, everything that talks about storytellers in the world. That's why I'm a huge fan of Neil Gaiman. And I really like that concept. And I went far away. And when there is other great stuff when Doctor says to Clara, I already said that when we have something important to us, something precious to us that we need to protect, we run until we're out of the shadow of the danger. That's great. The other thing, oh how good this is, oh how good this is, when Doctor is kneeling down before this celestial body and saying like, come, take all the information I have, take all the memories, take all the stories, all the knowledge I have. I have seen the stars die, I have been at the beginning of the time, I have been at the end of the time, I have seen the laws of physics yet forming, I have seen the formation of the stars, universes, celestial bodies, everything. I have walked in the shadows of the big creation of time. I have seen Ant-Man in the box, very sad always, but that doesn't matter. And he says, take everything, which is really, it's so great, especially Matt Smith, how I'm constantly missing he and she when I'm supposed to say, when Matt Smith is actually, sort of not crying, but has tears in his eyes when he says it. Really powerful, emotional play from Matt Smith, and that's what I really liked. When I started watching season 5, when the Matt Smith came into a role of the 11th Doctor, I had but he was different than the 10th Doctor, because he was far more emotional than him. He was always going angry, he was always showing his emotion, and that's the strong part of the Matt Smith role, because he's always so emotional, whatever he do, and I really like that, there is still that part in, end of the time when 10th Doctor was emotional beyond belief when he was dying, but that scene is so hard and so beautiful. My card was full, so I have said entire review, but he hadn't recorded it. Oh, so let's do it again. Last thing I said was how Matt Smith, was, had emotional role, and that scene with 10th Doctor was legendary, but it's different from this, and let's return to Matt Smith. And what he has done there is great. It was really great, and show how the Doctor is actually powerful and emotional being and powerful, and how he's really ready to protect, how he's really now the protector of the universe. And then there's also a great dialogue, when Clara reappears again, and he gives her leaf, which is the most important leaf in human history, which contains all the information of the world can, of the things there are, the things there is, and the things that should be, and the things that could be, all the possible ways that humanity could go in that leap, which is infinity, you know, and infinity is even too much for God. And the way that she's saying that, and the way the doctor is saying that, it's really emotional and great. Really, really, really emotional and great. And the doctor also said something very important. At that moment she said it's not important what it is, but what could have been. Which I think is a heavy symbolic on, you know, the Clara, which is an impossible girl, you know. She is, even though she shouldn't be, and that's why she's impossible. And also Clara gives her peak in that episode, and she appears to save the doctor, and you know, she has also had the teary eyes, and she gives a very good performance, but it's not still something which, you know, will be the great thing about her, you know. That's not it. She's still just a calm water. But I believe we'll see more and more about Clara's character as much as more as we'll learn about who she really is, and or what she really is. I mean, and from that point, Clara hasn't given us something much in this episode, but I really like her. I really like her for that, because from every other companion, I mean, from every other companion, she is, you know, really ready to explore things. She's really like to explore stuff, and that's really great. And she's so cute. I mean, I don't know if I have said. Reci.
Možeš da jedeš ako ćeš ove vruće glibe?
Neću.
Kad budeš teo, znaš da imaš.
Dobro. So, Clara is really cute. I mean, really cute, and she just innocently, you know, small cute. The cuteness sparks up from her. She's not like, you know, Emilia Pond, who plays on every single fetish of nerd guys, you know, cute redhead girl in a police uniform, very flirty police uniform. You know, she's just cute. But we will see. I guess we will see more about her when time approaches in the next episodes. For the symbolic of this episode, more I will say really there is a strong atheistic standpoint from the symbolic that writer have written inside this. I know Doctor Who is not a place to, you know, to talk about, you know, stuff as religion and stuff like that, but there is this. I must say this because this is a part of the review. It's a very strong part of the episode. When, you know, when Doctor is yelling at the God, he's saying something like, have you seen these people? They're singing. They're all singing together. They're not afraid of you. They're not afraid of your judgment. They are now free to think and do whatever they like. They are not afraid of anything you might possess, no matter what you might do. And, you know, I also believe that when the way the Doctor Who is confronting God is the same way when you would confront God when you were speaking to Christian, Muslim, or anyone who have some beliefs in gods. You know, because in Christianity or, you know, any other religion, God passes on judgment. God created you, so you're, you know, obliged to live by the God's rules, to live, you know, how God wanted it. And I also believe this is their atheistic standpoint, you know, by saying, atheistic standpoint, is saying, okay, we are not afraid of you, we're going to live freely, we're going to enjoy life, and, you know, we don't care about if there's a God or something like that, we're not afraid of you. That's a strong atheistic standpoint in this episode. And I will not speak more about that because this is religion and this is not stuff for Doctor Who, you know. And I really liked that point, and that's pretty much what I liked in this episode. I mean, that's pretty much what I like. So thank you for watching this review. See you next time, see you next week. Goodbye.